Have you ever seen the Dr. Seuss style sukkah poem? It has lines like, you can build it very small, and you can build it very tall. And if it should be very cold, stay there, only if you are bold. Surprisingly wide-ranging, this poem serves as a humorous but actually helpful halachic guide to learn some of the core teachings of Sukkot construction laws. Laws like, you can build it on a ship or on a roof, but please don't slip. What's more, this poem is thoroughly footnoted with a source for each halacha that it puts to rhyme. The one topic its author, Rabbi Art Gould, doesn't cover, though, are the rules about the sukkah walls. For that, here's a pop quiz for this crowd here today. All right, guys, pop quiz. How many sides does a kosher sukkah need? Amy's saying 3. Anybody else? Huh? Maida saying 3.5. Anybody else? Ooh, who said 2.5 over there? Alan. So, Alan, it turns out you're getting the prize today because a sukkah, a kosher sukkah, optimally has 4 sides, right? With a little opening for you to get in. But if not, you can do Maida 3.5 sides. Amy, you can do even 3 sides. And Alan, if we don't have 3 sides, 2.5 will do. And in fact, 2.5 is actually not even true. It's actually 2 and a little bit. What's that little bit? According to halachic authorities, that is 3.2 inches wide. A very little bit. So in case you're having trouble visualizing that, there's a cute mnemonic for the number of walls that a kosher sukkah can have, which is actually created from the letters of the word sukkah. Follow me here. Samech, 4. Kaf, you got your 3. And hey, your 2 and a little bit. The walls don't even have to reach the top or the bottom fully. They just have to be at least 32 inches tall in a sukkah that is permitted to be up to 30 feet high. Good luck putting your schach on that one. From this odd detail of this sukkah walls, Rabbi Elliot Cosgrove argues that these sukkah walls actually give us an insight about joy that is precious. He says, as with the physical construction of the sukkah, so too with our emotions. How do we make joy? We might not have all of the materials that we optimally need, but we stretch what we have. We make something beautiful with whatever we've got. Now, I don't have to tell you the kind of year our people have just been through. You feel it in your own heart, in your own bones. We don't have all the walls that we need, not in Israel and not here in the U.S., where a bomb threat during Yom Kippur services in Manhattan forced the town and village synagogue onto the street in the middle of Kol Nidre. Member Cheryl Gross had already been shaken before they even arrived at services. She's quoted as saying, "I told Bill not to put on his yarmulke until at least we were inside of the synagogue. But," she said, "thought about that. We didn't used to worry about that. We now do." And yet, just like that 2 and a bit sided sukkah, Cheryl reported that as the community evacuated, they didn't actually leave. Instead, congregants finished the service out on the street, even without machzors. Fellow members Beth Mann said Rabbi Soslin started singing Oseh Shalom, and people just joyously started singing in the streets. We are, she said, undeterred from celebrating the holiday. These Manhattan shul-goers tapped into a tradition of resilience that has seen our people through the hardest of times. Rabbi Benny Friedman shared a story this week about a survivor of Auschwitz, Yaakov, which was shared with him. As a 13-year-old, Yaakov was imprisoned in Auschwitz with an esteemed rabbi who continued to teach him even under the most dire of circumstances. One day, they noticed that there was a barrack that had not yet been completed. The walls were up, but the roof had not yet been finished. So they waited day by day by day. And when Sukkot arrived, the rabbi and Yaakov risked their lives by sneaking into the barrack, adding some branches up onto the beams of the open roof, where they then recited a blessing and ate a small portion of bread. This was their fulfillment of the mitzvah to have a meal in the sukkah. This small act of defiance fueled Yaakov with a glimmer of hope, then a glimmer of joy in that moment that lifted him through the horror. He survived and proudly passed down this memory to his own family and through Rabbi Friedman to each of us. This story, this moment, encapsulates why Elias and I feel so passionately about taking our Temple Emmanuel community on the March of the Living this year, especially. The march begins in Poland with a hands-on exploration of the dark history of the Holocaust and is in and of itself a sacred opportunity to bear witness. But that's not where its deepest power lies. Rather, there's something indescribable about hundreds of thousands of Jews from around the world coming together to march silently into Auschwitz, declaring that the memory of those we lost will fill us with the fire to stand against anti-Semitism in our time, today, with the fire to live proudly as Jews today. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs calls Sukkot the festival of insecurity. And he continues, it is also Zman Simchatenu. In that tension is what he calls our miraculous ability to rejoice even in the midst of insecurity. We as Jews, he goes on to say, are the world's experts on how to live in insecurity because we have existed with it for millennia. Faith, he concludes, is not certainty. It is the courage to live in the face of uncertainty. If we ever needed something more, that is what we need now. This year, I want to issue a personal invitation to each and every one of you. Come with us on the March of the Living. This year, find with us the eternal secret of the Jewish people that is found in our Sukkot today, that we may not have what is ideal. Our walls are not full and the wind can shake us, but we are a part of a long line of Jewish ancestors who have said for countless generations, even if we only have 2 and a little bit more for our walls, let's go and make something beautiful there. Chag Sameach.